What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm once again joined by Degenerate Jay. Jay, we've been on a tear these past couple of days. We've been going through PlayStation Alley, as I think we should call it. It's been, honestly, an absolute blast just firstly recording these videos, talking to you in between these videos. We're having a recording day behind the scenes, but thank you so much for joining us on this video.
Hey, thanks for having me. I do want to tell everybody that in the divorce, Alex is losing the channel. I will be the new host, obviously, of Podcast Now. My intros won't be as good, but you'll have to get used to the RBF version of a voice versus Alex's excitement. Anyways, thanks for having me a lot. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, no problem. So we're going to do, I think, a pretty fun one. Now, I'll be honest with you guys at home and guys and girls at home. Look, I thought there was more coming to the PS5, and I'm not saying that this is bad. In fact, I will go on record defending the PS5 launch lineup and saying that it is still better than what we had with PS4. There's some things that are missing, Ratchet and Clank, just so we know, because we're going to be ranking these. There's 5 games. There's Astro's Playroom, Demon's Souls, Destruction All-Stars, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Sackboy Big Adventure. So those are the 5. Ratchet and Clank doesn't count because, it's gone missing in action. We have Ken Bridge of Spirits, which was delayed out of, it was originally going to be this, but, obviously being pushed now. I don't want to count games that are also on Xbox or also on PC. So games like Devil May Cry 5, we're not counting backwards compatible. So, we're really, in all fairness to Sony, we are shrinking the amount of games that are even available to us here, but those are our 5, and we're going to go from there. Jay, I think we have to say 5 is Astro's Playroom. I don't think either of us really have a lot to say for it. Here's what I'll say just very briefly, and we'll move on. It looks cool. I'm going to play it. It's free, so how could you really say no to it? This is going to be, along with maybe one other game we'll talk about in a second, this is really the tech demo. This is, okay, how does the haptic feedback work? We saw Jeff Keighley. This was the game he showed off when he showed off the controller for the first time. So this and the controller are going to go hand in hand. I'm excited for it, as excited as you can be for a preloaded game on a PS5, but I'm excited for this game. I get the excitement for Astro in general. Overall, a solid thing, but there's really, I don't know, there's not much more to say other than that.
No, I completely agree with you. I never played the original, the original experience on PS4. I always thought the character was cute. I've seen it off and on. I would assume that what this will do is, like you said, be a tech demo for the controller mainly, for what it's capable of, some tight platforming probably. I would assume very short. My assumption is a couple hours is what this is. But I don't know that. That's just assuming from the outside in. I think that this will be just a fun little experience for people who have a PS4, and it reminds me a little bit of, I believe it was Bejeweled, I think, the game that was just packaged in as a jewel matcher for Xbox 360 that was actually very popular. It's not a killer app. It's just something that's like, hey, I get this because I have this system.
Yeah, I think that's, it's nothing against it. I'm not anti. Don't nobody come at me with that. I'm anti Astro's Playroom. I'm gonna play it. You probably would see my username, my PlayStation ID, saying that I'm playing that first. So that is number 5. There's really not much more to say about that. I think for number 4, now I defended this to the last second with Jay. I gotta be honest here, but number 4 is Destruction All-Stars. Now, little background here. Fortnite mixed with Rocket. Now, I see a lot of Rocket League in this. In fact, when I first saw it, I was like, this is Rocket League just in a different way. I think just the way that the combat's going to work with these characters. And they are characters. That's kind of, I guess, the difference between Rocket League, right? But it's got the more fast-pacedness that Rocket League has. Look, this game is exciting. I will defend this game as much as I possibly can. And I gotta say this, I'm very disappointed it's $70. I have nothing against with them raising prices. We've heard in the industry that this was going to happen for months. They kind of just dropped this and said, like, hey, we've not talked about this before, but we're going to assume that you've heard about these price increases. We're just going to show it to you. Games have gone up. So $40 games are now $50. That's what Miles Morales is. We see $60 games that are now $70. That's what Demon's Souls is. And now Destruction All-Stars. Now, here's the deal. I never thought Destruction All-Stars was a $60 game. I always assumed it was like a $30. Now, does that speak to the quality I was expecting of it? The way they showed it, I just flat out thought it was a smaller, fun experience that, again, is pretty darn cheap. You throw it in. You're buying 3, 4, 5, 6 games in that Black Friday period. This game, you accidentally put in your cart and you buy it and you end up enjoying it, right? That's kind of what I expected from it. To be $70 for an online-only game is pretty darn tough when there's all of, not just PlayStation exclusive, but people are going to be playing Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and Avengers, all these games. Who's going to be playing this? So I would like to put this at number 3, but like I said, I fought Jay for this. I think I have to put it at 4 because the price to me is the biggest thing. I really was not expecting that, and honestly, that takes me off the board to buy it. I don't know how much I can support a game that I don't even own.
Oh, interesting. You were defending it just a second ago, but now you're not going to buy. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so here's the thing. I almost put this at number 5.
Oh my God.
If Astros wasn't free, this would be my number 5, just because I don't really care. However, this could come out and be fantastic. I think that style of game, it's just something I've seen a lot of. I'm just kind of not over it, but not super impressed by it anymore. However, just like I said in the video where we talked together on your channel about, some things like Resident Evil and stuff like that, which people should definitely check out. We've done a lot of videos together recently. If you don't try new things, you don't find things you like. And this could very easily come out and be something I really enjoy. I didn't expect that out of Rocket League. I ended up platinuming the base game. So, I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised by this and not super cynical with it. It has a fun presentation style. And it's not something drawing me to the console, but it certainly doesn't hurt to be there in any way.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's a thing that's there. I'm going to put up a big fight about it being good versus its price, but at the same time, I don't know. I think this is a game that can definitely kind of fade. At the same time, like you said, it could be one of those games that come out and people are saying, hey, the game you've never, the titles that are like the game you've never heard of and it's so popular. This could very well be it. I just think the price is a huge. I'm sorry to the developers who made it, Lucid Games, but I have to put you here. So number 3, the one that beat it out, is Sackboy: A Big Adventure. No, in all honesty, this game deserves it. So this is a game that is made by Sumo Digital. Now remember, they made Little Big Planet 3. Media Molecule didn't do that. Now they've had a spotty track record. I know I talk on this channel a lot about kind of following where developers or even games have been in the past. They made Crackdown 3. They were kind of the main studio. Now, Crackdown 3 jumped around like as much as you do in that game. It jumped around quite a bit, and it was quite a disaster. I don't think that's unfair to say. Again, these guys know Little Big Planet. This isn't a Little Big Planet game. To me, I see this as another tech demo, but better or bigger. I would say maybe bigger because it doesn't necessarily have to be better than Astro's Playroom. $60. Again, is this a game that probably should be 40 or less? Yeah, I mean, I think if it was a 40, I would probably pick it up. 60 right there, though, to me, does kind of speak a little bit of volume because you have AllStars at 70, you have Demon Souls at 70, but then you have this game at 60. So right there, that kind of speaks to maybe the amount of content in the game. So that does worry me. At the same time, again, I'm not going to necessarily beat myself up over a game that I'm not going to get, and I honestly don't know how many other people are going to get.
Yeah, I'm interested in Sackboy. So the only reason I'm interested is because you and I have a different mentality when we buy games. For you, aren't you more of a digital guy now?
Yeah, I'm more digital now.
So it's funny. I'm the opposite, and I'm going to regret this when I move. But I have in my room, in my office, I've been trying to build up a library of physical games. And for me, it's like they kind of get me. I'm very niche, but they get me to buy it because it's like, hey, this is a PlayStation thing, PlayStation branded. It's only here. This is where it's going to be. And so I buy that at the very least just to have access to it later. This isn't something that I would necessarily play right away. I'm surprised they didn't go with Little Big Planet. Just in general, they're going more with the direction of using Sackboy as just a mascot and doing a platformer. That could either be really good or it could be just a little lame, since there already were a ton of platforming elements in Little Big Planet, plus all the creative aspects. And I don't really see that here. Like you said, this is not a Little Big Planet game. So I'm kind of worried that they are maybe going a different direction than people want with this character. I have no idea, but I do really hope that they can make this work. It looks like a fun experience. I'm sure I will play it at some point. I'm not sure I'll pick it up at day one, but it's something I will own eventually. And it's higher than some things. I think what we're getting down to too, as well, without really, harping on the PS5, is that the lineup for launch titles specific to this console are not the best.
Right.
But there's a few that are really good.
Right, and a thing I'll just throw in there too, and we'll keep moving on. But a thing is the haptic feedback of the controller. Jay and I are both really big fans of what the controller can do, and I don't want to kind of discredit that. Right, Astro's Playroom and this could absolutely be this could be the game that says this is why you have the controller in the first place. Maybe other games don't take advantage of it, but this game does. And honestly, for something kind of as simple as a controller, you know what I mean? It comes with a console. You sometimes pick up another one. You don't think about all that much, but your fingers are, I mean, it's the thing that controls the game. As simple as that is, I honestly feel like Sackboy could be a thing you pick up simply because you want to know what that controller is fully capable of. So I just don't want to I mean, I would honestly buy this for like a discounted rate if it comes out for like 30, 40 bucks, a couple months down the line. I would buy it simply to show people, hey, look at what the controller, look at what it can sense on your hand, look at what it can do. I think there's a lot of value there, honestly. So, moving on from that, and honestly, these next two games, which we haven't really talked about much in terms of the controller, but they have it as well. We have to say it. This may be a divisive issue, but Spider-Man Miles Morales is our number 2. We're both fans of it. Jay had a video all dedicated to it. We talked about it in yesterday's video on this channel. I mean, look, it's a fantastic game. It's probably, it looks fantastic. It's probably going to be fantastic. It's doing all the right things. Again, even if we want to talk about controller, it's going to have all of the right things. How it senses you, how Miles fights is going to be picked up on the controller, all this different kind of stuff. This is a game that I think if it only came out on PS5, it would be one of those you need the PS5 to buy this game. I think just the way I look at it in terms of this ranking, one, I am more excited for this other game. And 2, the other game is only on PS5. This game, I guess there's no spoiler, it's Demon's Souls. This game is on both. So this is not necessarily, Jay and I actually had to technically we made an exception for Miles Morales because this game is on PS4 and PS5. And Sackboy is as well, but some of them are not. And so we have to count it. So Miles Morales, I would say, is my number 2. Jay, what do you think?
I also do think, by the way, in terms of Miles Morales, I think that it's hard to get so excited for it because they've already admitted it's a smaller experience on purpose than the base, Spider-Man. I think that it's going to be a stepping stone in between Spider-Man 1 and 2. What I'm looking forward to it is establishing Miles Morales' identity and being a fun thing to mess around in. I know you weren't a big fan of Infamous Second Son. We disagree on that a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I know I like it more than you do. To me, this reminds me of something like Infamous First Light, where it's
yes. I love First Light.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same sort of thing. It's a smaller experience, maybe more focused. I've seen a lot of complaints for Spider-Man, even though I know that's not popular to do because people think the game's perfect. But I think that there are some things that are valid criticisms of the original, of too many side quests that don't matter or giving you things to do that no one cares about versus being focused. And I think that Miles already sounds like it's going to be a more focused experience on just the character, on what's going on in the world at that time, a little less padding. I think that could really help the PlayStation 5 at launch. I do think that it's, like you said, an exception because it is still on the PS4. But supposedly it's going to be, the PS5 is the definitive version of it, whatever that means and however they said it. I'm only concerned that the technology is being held back a little bit by also being on the PS4. And I know that's a touchy subject. I don't want to get too far into that, but I do think that that's something PC players have been dealing with forever is, well, my system's held back. Like, let's say I have a GTX 2070 Super. Okay, well, some of my games are held back by the fact that Alex has an Xbox One X. Why do I have to suffer? Why are they not making the game exclusively for my specs? Because he has something weaker. It's something the PC people have always thought. And I know people don't appreciate that mindset, but now it's something coming to console because now it's not just something is held back from PC for console. Now it's held back by a previous generation of console as well. And how does that affect it? Because they have to optimize it for both, and they're not designing two entirely different games. I guess those are my only concerns, and I think those are probably why I didn't put this as number 1, actually.
Yeah, I completely back you up with the holding it back, and the game's going to be good. I mean, there's no way the game is going to come out and it's like, oh man, that was a bad game. They threw that together in a day. It's definitely going to be a good game, but but it cannot, overpass what we're going to put at number one, which has to be Demon Souls. And look, at this point, we've talked, even Jay and I just recording this behind the scenes, we talked about this quite a lot over the past couple hours. This game, we're both very, very high on this game. It's the reason, I would say, besides the channels, that we're getting the PlayStation 5, okay? This is a game that I think is going to do all the right things. And again, when you look at people getting the PS5, this is not only for people that are like From Software people that like those games, but I mean, factually, you get your PS5 if you're looking for a game that's going to push the console early on. Now 3 years down the line when we get Uncharted and we get God of War 2 and all this stuff, I mean, are we going to look back and say, okay, my God, I actually can get better than this? Yes, but early on, if you want to push the console, let me tell you right now, again, we can all be as happy as we want about Miles, but what's pushing the PS5 is going to be Demon Souls. I mean, there's no way around it. This game is going to be something special, if not anything other than just having an exclusive game that you can only play on the PS5, which, ironically, this is the only one that you can. None others are only on PS5. You look at Xbox, and, again, we're not anti-Xbox. I'm not anti-Xbox, nothing like that. They really don't have much of anything. They have the Medium. That's the biggest game. In my mind, I'm very into that game. I'm very excited for that game. That's their biggest game. So, I mean, I think Demon Souls would win that. This is that next-gen game, and I think, honestly, that helps sales just by itself there. So, really, when Jay and I were looking at this, there's no way, in our opinions, that we could put something else. If Ratchet and Clank was here, if Kenna Bridge of Spirits was here, let me tell you, the list would be different. But as it stands right now, I think Demon Souls is easily number one.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for Demon Souls. I'm going to avoid just being a massive simp for it here because I've done it in 2 different videos now, I think, with you as well. But it's just something very exciting. You can see what it's pushing forward. It also looks like there may, and I'm going to say may because I don't know this. I don't know anything more than anybody else does on this. There may be cut content from the original in there as well. There's been a lot of talks of that possibly being a thing from things that we saw from the original teaser, which would also push this up there. It's one of those things that also gains points, I think, for being such an appeal to the hardcore Sony fan base. We talked about it before. PS3, one of the main things that people talk about the PS3 had that's not anywhere, if they're a big core gamer or a hardcore gamer at least who knows games, not the person who just plays COD or something like that. They probably don't know too much about this. But the thing that a lot of people bring up that were big PlayStation fans is Demon Souls. Where's Demon Souls? Why'd that get abandoned? Oh, too bad there'll never be another Demon Souls because they want to make money off of all the platforms and it's just exclusive. And people had kind of given up on this. And now that it's here, it feels a little surreal what it could be, and what we've already seen, to me, is the most impressive thing I've seen showcasing next gen in any regard on any platform at all.
Absolutely, yeah. That's I think honestly important that. And again, not to take attacks at Microsoft, because to be honest with you, Sony's done almost just as bad. When we talk about next gen and what next gen can do, you got to show it. You got to show it. And I think one of the criticisms, fair, of Xbox is they really haven't. They really have not shown it. Sony, you could say the same thing. The one time that they did is Demon. You could argue Miles, but I would say Demon Souls is that number one time where if you're looking right now, today, whatever day this is in September, what is a game that can push next gen? Of all the games we've seen, what's that game that's the standout on both consoles? I honestly believe there is only one. Ratchet and Clank, I would almost argue, though, is 2, but considering we're talking about launch, I'll say Demon Souls. You could make arguments of other games, but Demon Souls is so high up there. Honestly, Jay, talking about it with you for hours makes me infinitely more excited to play it than it did like several hours ago. So I do want to thank you. And honestly, guys, look at this. Okay, Jay's been phenomenal. If you guys have noticed, he's been on 3 videos in a row. 3 days in a row. I make a lot of videos here, but Jay's been so great. Hopefully, especially for those that made it at the end of this video, you guys realize that Jay is capable of talking about pretty much anything. So if you like my diversity, Jay's got it too. His channel, all that stuff in the description below. I follow him on all of my things. So you can get to him that way. An amazing guy. I've had so much fun recording this stuff with him, doing all these different topics. Hopefully, you guys that are watching really like this as well. I really hope you do. Hopefully, the kind of diversity aspect worked with you. So, Jay, thank you so much for being on. I thought, if there was any question about, you being able to talk about things, which I never once doubted, but you've completely shown up. You've done a fantastic job.
Well, hey, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I've really been trying to move out of a little bit of a niche I've been in on YouTube, not to get too far into it with A lot of people found me through Batman, I think, and Spider-Man. And I've been trying to talk about other games and other stuff too. And being able to help you and be on your channel as well has sort of gotten me more excited about other topics and really helped me do that. So I really appreciate it. I hope people, obviously check out your video that's on my channel about Demon Souls as well, which we're really excited about. We go really in depth
If you guys
there.
couldn't tell, it's
Yeah,
been a
no
small
kidding.
secret.
No kidding. Yeah, and you're one of my few friends who I can talk to about it because a lot of my other friends, like T, he's like, "What's that?" And Nate's only beaten Dark Souls 1, so he knows how hard it is, and he's like, I'm gonna wait on that." So it's been super fun hyping it up in my head even with you.
Yeah.
I've loved working with you here the last couple days. I look forward to doing more stuff with you both on your channel and my channel, and I hope that this is something that lasts a long time and was enjoyable for people. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let us know, guys. Do your rankings in the comments below. Not that many to rank, but definitely some pretty darn exciting ones. And we're getting close. There's less than 2 months until the PS5. Jay and I will both be covering it quite a bit on our channels. So honestly, if you can tell, my voice is always excited, but if you can tell from it, I'm very, very pumped over where this next period of time is going to take us. Make sure you're subscribed, all that good stuff, and we'll see you all on the next video.